Yes. All right, Jamie. Wow, I'm hoping this introduction will do you any justice. You're a movie maker, author, musician, facilitator. Am I forgetting something?
Father.
All right. It's a kind of a big one. And you made a really nice documentary, Becoming Nobody. And I would love to talk to you about that and about who Ram Dass was. If you're up for it, of course.
Sure, anything, yeah.
Sure. So let's start there. For people listening who've never ever heard about Ram Dass, could you explain?
Well, one of the ways you could describe him is he was really the daddy of the self-development in the West. He wrote a book called Be Here Now in the late 60s, which became the beginning of all the self-help books, really. And he's still the best one out of all the people that have written those books. He's the funniest, the least pretentious. He has this beautiful way of using his own melodrama as the lesson. So it's very funny, confessional. And all my favorite teachers are like that, Pema Chodron, whoever, they use their own drama and are very much human. So he's a wonderful sacred fool. He's hilarious. He's the deepest one I've ever read, very, very from the heart. And I just adore the man. And I wrote to their foundation. He was in a couple of my other movies, the One Giant Leap movies, One Giant Leap and What About Me? And wonderful in those. And I never felt that there are some films about him, but they're all a little bit spiritual, a little bit slightly serious and grave, like spiritual. When he's really not like that, he's really funny and silly and does not push the role of being the teacher, the mask, he's just very human. And I didn't feel any of the movies captured that. So I said to them, listen, I really want to make the ultimate Ram Dass movie, real tribute to him being a sacred clown, and they were up for it. And we made this lovely film, Becoming Nobody.
Can you explain the title for people who also are not familiar with his message or his teaching?
Yeah, I mean, the great trap and the root of suffering in the world is everyone trying to become somebody. We're brainwashed from the beginning. You've got to be someone. You've got to make your mark. You've got to be special. You've got to... And actually, the true joy and peacefulness of life is actually enjoying being ordinary, letting go of the pressure of having to be special, having to really inflate the ego in unhealthy ways. The ego is necessary to be a human, but it has become so inflated, the agenda of the ego, to be more and more special and more noticed, or more and more, even in your own mind, a string of adjectives, whatever is your thing. I want to be more and more genius. I want to be more and more rich. I want to be more and more innocent. I want to be more and more something. I want to be this. I want to be that. And the great freedom is when you drop all that and be ordinary, become nobody, just be in service and in acceptance of what life is, light and dark.
Yeah, and what I find really fascinating about this is that, for example, you're a musician as well, so playing crowds, becoming famous, but also even looking at shamans, it feels like this ego sometimes can be so big, but still it balances out with some sort of spirituality or non-ego.
It's not the size of the ego. It's not about not having an ego or not even really enjoying the ego. It's about not deriving your meaning from its agenda. Definitely enjoy it. Like I was in a group called Faithless. We would pay thousands of tens of thousands, 50,000, like cameras flashing. A great thrill. But we would have a motto thrilling, not meaningful. Like, really enjoy it. It's not like, oh, no, ego, I have to, because then you're pushing something away. You're still trapped. If you're grasping at it, you're trapped. If you're pushing it away with aversion, the Buddhists will tell you, you're also trapped. It's got you. It's still got you. But if you're like, you don't mind either way, if it comes, it's fun. If it doesn't come, my life is not less or more. You can enjoy all the ego things without the attachment of I need it or I'm escaping it.
That sounds kind of like a relief. So you go, and also maybe a pitfall, like, no, it's good. I'm just enjoying my ego. Yeah.
Is that a Maori tattoo you have there?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, well, it's...
Totally Maori.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's inspired by it, but I just gave the artist a couple of styles to work with, and he just did a freehand on my left side. Then on the other side, it's more feminine, colorful, Mucha, Jugendstil. So it's like in a workshop, one of the facilitators once said to me that I'm like a two-spirited person. And then she held my arms and she said, well, the masculine and the feminine. And I looked down and I'm like, oh my God, how come I've never even seen this? Look at my arms. It's already here. I just never noticed it, the duality of it, and the fact that it was already on my body. It's a really nice memory I have of that. Well, sorry, this kind of a bridge to then another topic that I was wondering about. When I follow you on Instagram and I look at your website, ego work or our shadow side, it seems like a big topic that you're really interested in. Me as well. It's deeply fascinating. So could we start there? What is ego work in your, shadow work in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a good point. A lot of people they think their shadow side is their dark side. But it's not. It's the hidden side. It's all the places that when we were growing up, we made unwelcome. And it might have been your great excitement or your enjoyment of the sexuality of your body. Or, a lot of people hide away beautiful things when they're given negative feedback, not just anger, grief, anxiety. So the shadow is that which is hidden. And so therefore, because we've hidden so many wonderful and natural parts of this full spectrum of us, we've hidden away the anger, we've hidden away the grief. If someone cries in a workshop, the first thing they say is sorry. Like it's not allowed in people's minds, or their anxiety, or their neediness, or their great excitement, or their flamboyant entertainer, enjoying being the center of attention and making people laugh or entertained, or their sexuality especially. So much has been edited away. People are existing in the world as like a 20% sized version of themselves, suppressing and hiding behind the mask all the other stuff, even often suppressing and hiding from themselves. So they think, oh, I'm not creative, or I'm not sexy, or I'm not. But they are really. It's been so long since that part was edited. So it's all waiting there. And two important things about that is, one, the waiting there is a kind of suppression that we've normalized, a kind of suppression which exhausts us and makes us age quicker and get ill and feel nervous and lonely. And the other thing is that these parts which most people are so scared of, because it's been so long since they looked towards them in their minds, they've built to these huge phantoms. Really, they are actually holders of treasure and protection and genius. So in our games and in our workshops, which are very playful and easygoing, we discuss them, we laugh about how crazy we are, we turn towards them with little games, and suddenly you cash in at the casino tons of treasure which was asleep, and it makes life more joyful and creative and sexy and full and juicy.
Can you give examples of what people can encounter if they do this?
Well, usually we turn away from them. Whenever they come up, we're like, oh no,
Yeah.
But when you turn towards them with an attitude of curiosity and welcome and a bit of humor, then they talk to you and you have like these dialogues with these crazy characters that live in your head. and you hear their needs, and you as an adult get to meet their needs in healthy ways instead of unhealthy ways. And so a lot of it is discussion, a lot of it is playing silly games where we allow these characters to have the mouth. We give them permission to come forward and be funny or be crazy or be vulnerable. And we do it with each other, and everyone realizes, wow, you're just like me. Wow, I've been hiding all this time. What a relief. Community and intimacy goes huge, in this moment. Mm-hmm. And it's just a very intimate, beautiful feeling of connection with everyone, as well as reclaiming a lot of treasure and wholeness and reducing the amount of stress and exhaustion, maintaining the mask.
One thing that I kind of struggle with, or is a theme at the moment, or maybe a long time. Sometimes it feels like there's this nagging sense, underline. That's the doorbell. Never mind, I'll put it next to the door. This underlying, like this nagging sense of perfectionism, judgment, and it seems like the more I notice it, the more it's here. Probably it was already here, but I never really noticed it. So, any advice?
Yeah. I would go into a dialogue with that character who lives inside you. She believes, the perfectionist, believes that she was told very young that the way you were going to get love and the way that you would get included, not pushed away, was to be as perfect as possible. She really took on that piece of information as true. So you created a little Jeanette, how do I say your name?
Jeanette, yeah.
A little Jeanette who lives inside, who's 7 or however old. And her job is to always be looking on the horizon for anything that's not perfect, to then ring the alarm bell, and to always concentrate on whatever you're doing, that it is perfect, and give you a little bit of extra stress to make sure you're motivated. Mm. And she believes, because you gave her that job when you were a child, she believes that that is a real thing to do. This is what she should be doing. She's, in her mind, she's helping you. You as an adult, it's not helping you. But you have never updated her. You've never told her, hey, you can stop doing that job. So in her mind, she gets up every morning with you doing that job. She's never been told to stop. So what we would do is we would go into a different relationship with her, and we play a game called the Cinderella game, where you lovingly relieve her of duty. You ask her, what has she missed all this time? You want to do it now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're already here, so.
Closing your eyes. I think I can feel her in the chest right now. You can feel her here? A little bit?
The funny thing is, you started talking like we can relieve her of her duty. I can feel the sense of, no.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Okay, so closing your eyes and just feel her. And first of all, just allow her to be, not pushing her away. Just in any way that you can say to her, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all these years trying to protect me. But I don't need you to do that job anymore. I know it's scary, but I'm an adult. My life is okay. I have friends. No one is going to reject us we're not children. No one is going to reject us for not being perfect anymore. And just rub your chest and just really make her feel welcome, and ask her, is there anything that you need? See if she says anything. We're just listening. We're just curious, welcoming, gentle, nothing busy. Ask her what she needs.
Acceptance.
Can you give her acceptance?
Yeah. And inclusion. And it's okay. It's okay to be here.
Yes, exactly. In all our mess and perfection and imperfection. Allowing the emotion to be tender, it's all welcome. Just discharging some of that stress she's carried. Gentle breathing. And you can ask her, does she have a message for you? Do you have a message for me, little one?
She's laughing, or it just laughter. I guess that's it. Joy.
You can ask her, what has she missed out on all these years while she was busy trying to be an adult for you? What things from her childhood or things from life does she want more of in your life? What would she like more of? Just asking her, not thinking it up. We're just listening to her.
Joy. Just being. Loving.
Is that available?
Yeah.
Tell her that. Let her know that in 2020 that is available for her. Let her know. You can keep rubbing your chest just a little bit because she likes a bit of touch. It's available. You're safe in 2020. Just allowing that relief, that coming home, that welcome to being in the breath. Every breath just coming home to joining with her, integrating, allowing her to be with you. Last of all, I'm just going to ask her, and listening deeply, just going to ask her one more thing is, what new job would you like to do instead now that you don't need to be perfect? What new job would you like to be doing instead, which is in harmony with how we are now going to live our life? See what she would like.
I see this is more of an image.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Of this, not sorry, but of this girl just parading, strutting joyfully, paving the way, I guess, for me. That's what she wants.
Great. Can you let her know that's okay with you?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So just rubbing the chest one more time and thanking her and letting her know your feelings are always welcome. I'm not going to abandon you. You're always welcome here. Your feelings are worth feeling. Your presence is welcome. You're always welcome here. Thank you for working so hard. Let's be a team. You're always welcome. I'm not going anywhere. There's nowhere I'd rather be than with you.
Wow. I didn't expect this, to be honest, but thank you.
Yeah. Maybe you'd like to take a little break and we carry on this recording a little later. Would you like to just be with yourself for a few minutes? Or we can carry on.
We can continue. That's okay. I want to share what just happened. Also for the listeners, maybe the listeners can take a little break if they did this exercise with us. This little girl just standing there, like waving her hands, proud, strutting, like, come on, I'll show you the way, follow me. This little explorer, adventurer, just doing her thing, not thinking about doing it right or wrong or what people will think. And there are memories also attached to this, me being this before the the version that we began, so the perfectionist version, I did stuff secretly, but stuff like going into people's backyards and mowing the lawn, or cleaning out a cage with rabbits of girls that I used to play with. When I was a little girl, I would just sneak in, tidy things up, make it a little better, just because I had fun, felt good, and then leaving again. I think it's that little girl just waving around happiness and joy, I guess. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, because exploring and off we go to experiment, and is the opposite of perfectionism. She's put down the perfectionism, so now there's nowhere to fail. It's suddenly the landscape is open.
It's funny what the mind is doing with me at the moment. It's just thinking about coming up with arguments why this perfectionism is like really helpful. Yeah, but it makes me do stuff and create stuff and write and make videos.
I don't believe that's coming from your perfectionism. I think actually the perfectionism is narrowing the river, because it's so busy being perfect that it doesn't allow the mediocrity, the different leaves, the brown flowers, it doesn't allow the whole bush to expand. And great art comes from allowing mediocrity, because certain things begin mediocre, then they flower into something amazing. You just don't know. And if we edit it as it comes in so quickly, the river becomes a stream, becomes a trickle. John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Picasso, they did some average things and some brilliant things and some amazing things. But the funnel would never have allowed the amazing things to come through if it was narrowed so much to not allow the good ones and the average ones. The funnel has to be wide for a big one to come through, which means you have to allow mediocrity and do the editing later.
Yeah, I'm in the process of writing a book. And that's a big life lesson, to working with this topic, this inner editor, this inner perfectionist.
It's not that we don't edit; we just leave it till the end.
Yes,
of course you're going to edit it. Before you put the book out, you were only going to keep the good stuff.
Of course, yeah. So how do you, for example, do this? You just sit down and
you surrender. Yeah, you start a new piece of music and you let it be. Like, oh, really? Another country and Western song? Okay. Whatever the muse wants to give you that day is what you get. You're receiving your book. You're not thinking up your book. You're receiving, it's coming through. It's not up to you. Your job is to be the pen. Your job is to be available, to bring it in. Your job is not to decide exactly what everything is all the time. Sometimes, but not always. So yeah, I make myself available. I book the studio, whatever. We start to make a track, or we start to begin to make a film. And like, for example, one of the most successful films I made was called What About Me? It's the second One Giant Leap movie with Eckhart Tolle and Ramdas and all the greats, Santana and Alanis, and just an amazing spread of musicians and talkers from all around the world. But when we began that film, it was actually a different film. It was a film called Two Sides to Everything. It was all about duality, and every opposite has the other truth inside, and da-da-da-da. And we went off talking to people all around the world about that. But even though we thought this was such a great idea for the movie, what actually happened was that when we were interviewing everybody, everyone just said exactly the same thing. Yes, you can't have hot without cold. You can't have joy. It was just like the same answer everywhere. It was like, shit, we don't have a movie here. It was like too obvious. So like halfway through, we'd spent $1 million going around the world. We had almost like no good stuff. We were looking at each other like, fuck, have we fucked this up? But we carried on, even though it wasn't right. And then the angels or the devils came in, and some things happened in our personal lives which were really fucking heavy. My wife left me. My partner's father died. Like all kinds of like big life things happened in very, very painful ways. And suddenly now, when I was doing the interviews with Eckhart Tolle or Ramdas or whoever, it wasn't like Jamie, the director, just trying to get good footage. It was like, I need to know the answers to some of these questions. I was like now in it. I was like personally involved, not just making a movie. I was like, and suddenly the questions and the answers became much more about the shadow and about desire and wounds and about awakening and about pain and about death. These amazing conversations. And suddenly this whole new movie flowered from this very mediocre bush, which became the big, the most successful film the most cult, film, furthest reach, furthest impact film. Maybe Becoming Nobody is going past that now, but all because of mediocrity and resistance. And we could have stopped, or we could have stuck to, no, it has to be about duality, but it wasn't. No, it was like, let it go where it's going to go. And it turned into something so much better than duality. It turned into insanity, the human condition of hiding and being crazy and being lonely. And suddenly it was really a universal message of unity through insanity. The first one was unity through diversity. This one was unity through insanity. And it was, that's what projects do. You start them, often they're not really working, but you just keep trying to work with it, and then something happens and it turns left. It turns into something totally different. That's what we're doing. And you have to be available and open for that.
Was there any like chit-chat in your mind back and forth? Like, what is mine and what is coming through me?
No, I just hope it all comes through. Yeah. Through the filter of mine. I'm the filter. That part is mine. The bit that goes, interesting. Oh, I'm attracted to that. Or, oh God, that's, that's my filter. But what's coming through is life is living through us, not just in making a film or in art or creativity, in your relationships and everything. Life is living through us. We are passengers mostly. Nearly everything you do is inevitable.
Ooh.
Yeah. Sorry. The fact that you decide to do this podcast or vlog or whatever this is.
Podcast, yeah.
The girl who was born where you were born, with the genes that you had, that had the experiences that you had, in the order that you had them, with the people that you had them, with the brain that you have, arriving today, would always have inevitably had this conversation with me. How could it be different? It's maths. You roll the ball down the hill. That's the way it goes. Is it up to you? Your attraction to this guy or that girl is not really a choice. It's just, it arises. It's life living through you. Your feeling of excitement to write this book is like, oh, I want to write this book now. Your feeling of fear that makes you not do it for 3 weeks, inevitable. It's not your choice. Like, life is living through you. You're a passenger, hopefully watching lovingly.
Because that's the difficult part. The voice that you mentioned, not having done it for 3 weeks. That's because I'm just in the not having done it for 3 weeks, and then the self-criticism starts again and the doubts,
which is also inevitable. None of it means anything.
Yeah.
It's not meaningful. It's just like, oh, there I am, criticizing myself. just to not make the criticizing true. That's your job. And you became a little bit better at it today already. And someone of your age with your experiences is this good at it. Okay. You're not especially great at it. You're not especially terrible at it. You're like everybody else, somewhere in the middle. It's not a big drama. Even the part of you that can learn to make it not a big drama is on a trajectory of used to be terrible at it. Now I'm a bit better at it. Next year, maybe a little better. Even that's not up to you. How good you will be at avoiding the drama. You can pretend, oh, I'm going to really be good at loving myself and not. But even that day that you decided to be good at loving yourself, that was inevitable. You're a passenger.
It's such an interesting, fascinating topic, the junction between like taking control and leadership and creating, but also letting go, surrendering, trusting. How you yourself, what do you do to, or if you notice that you're going a little bit too far into like taking control and becoming a leader of, as opposed to like letting go too much, or maybe trusting too, or is there such a thing as letting go too much?
I don't think so. No. I mean, if I notice, I notice. And if I notice, I try and be loving and go, oh, there you go again. It's okay, Jamie, not to be like slave driver. But even how much I will do that day depends on things which are not in my control. You know, I can pretend I'm in control, but really like it's to do with many things. It's to do with my history. It's to do with, did I eat yet today? How's my blood sugar? Have I drunk some water? How are other people treating me? It's chaos. So it's all innocent. We can pretend we have control because the ego does not like the idea. There'll be people listening to this going, oh, this is bullshit. Of course, I choose this, I choose that. I know you have the appearance of choosing, but actually every choice you make, your unconscious mind, your subconscious has made 50 million calculations before your front mind goes, I will turn left. You think you chose to go left? No, that decision was made long before your ego or your front mind decided. You were given a summary of all the calculations because you couldn't look at all 50 million calculations. Your front mind was given a summary which just said, I think left is better. And so you go, I will go left. So that decision was made long before your mind got involved.
So how do you perceive self-help then? If it's just happening, or is self-help also something that's just happening?
Yes, it's just entertainment. It's just entertainment. Our souls, if we are evolving, our souls will be evolving us at the pace that our souls are evolving us, including things that get sent which wake us up or squash us or remind us or challenge us. I think it's best to look at self-help and evolving as entertainment, not something important.
That's really nice. Thanks for that. Self-help, because it lightens stuff up loads. And
it's a choice. Someone else can go, no, it's important. I'm here to grow. Fine. You know, like if you want to live your life that way, you find it happier or more fulfilling, or you think that at the end of your life, you're going to get a prize for how much you evolved, or there's some finish line. I meet people incredibly, my mouth hangs open. I meet people that actually say to me, I'm hoping this is going to be my last lifetime, that I get enlightened this lifetime. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you crazy? Just try going 2 weeks without whining. Let's just fucking start there, shall we? Get enlightened this lifetime. Give me a break.
I'm so hoping it never ends. Really. You mentioned loneliness, and that was one of the questions I really wanted to ask you as well. going to introduce the question. I did a very an abundance challenge a while ago of Deepak Chopra. It's this WhatsApp challenge with guided meditations.
I heard it was great.
Yes, it's really nice. And in one of the meditations, he, of course, consciousness is one of the big topics, of course. And I noticed like this very, very, all the people in the WhatsApp group were like, oh, so nice and beautiful. And I felt overflowing with love and light and abundance. And I was sitting there like, it felt horrible, just empty, lonely, nothing. Mm-hmm. So not nice, but also not horrible, not painful, but just nothing. And it felt so...
I think that's better. That's a stage. And some people, when they meet that stage, they get very depressed. Yeah. They realize it's meaningless. I gave such meaning to it, and I gave the meaning of my life to how meaningful it was. Now, if you make it meaningless, it's fucking depressing. Like, what? Like, nothing. But, okay, that's a stage. Don't panic. But what also happens after that is what happened to that girl that you were just talking to on the inside. Yes, you took away the meaning she thought was important, but then she was like, okay, let's play. So the stage of, oh no, it's meaningless. The box is empty. Shit. That's one stage. But then you have the next stage, which is the box is empty. I can put any fucking thing in it that I like. You know, like for instance, you know, for me, I don't know if it's meaningful or not. You know, I noticed that I love reading. I love reading stories and, you know, not especially deep always, you know, not especially, you know, like this was a good time spent to evolve my soul. You know, just like, I just love being lost in the world of the horses and the wagons and the magic and the ships on the horizon and these beautiful environments. And I just love that stuff. So I was like, well, look, you love it. We're going to allocate 4 hours a day for you to have it. There's no meaning. It doesn't make any difference. God isn't at the end of my life going, you spend far too much time reading fantasy literature, you know, or, you know, you spend far too much time just listening to music, or you spend far too much time not doing anything, you know, like as if there is a way that you should do it. For me, the way that I should do it is what my heart feels is enjoyable, is attractive. And that might be sitting in bed for days, looking out the window, not feeling pressure to do anything. Like, where did this pressure is all conditioned? But when you make the box empty, like with Deepak, this emptiness, you suddenly realize that, what do I actually like? Like, I teach a project workshop called What About You? And the first question we ask is, if God came into the room and said, all your life expenses are now paid, you don't have to pay rent or food anymore. So, what do you want to do after breakfast? That's your project. Whatever you would do if you didn't need to do it, spend your life doing that. Because you're going to be more joyful and more relaxed. Therefore, the people you meet are going to be more impacted by a joyful, relaxed person. It's the greatest activism on the planet, is to embody no pressure, peacefulness for yourself, radiate it to everyone if that entertains you.
Sounds so like logical, and then again also like the most difficult thing to allow yourself.
Yeah, the voice is going, am I allowed to do that? Have I got a hall pass? Don't wait till you've got cancer to have a hall pass. Like when I was 20, my best friend died. And it was terrible, but it was also like part of my brain went, look, your best friend died. No one can get you to do anything at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like no one can expect anything. You're the guy whose best friend died, so you've got a hall pass. No one can give you any shit at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like free to just do whatever the fuck I wanted because I was the guy whose best friend had just died. And it really like elevated my life. And you don't need to wait for your best friend to die to realize that truth, you know? Or if somebody just told you you've got a year to live, you've got cancer, you wouldn't give a fuck about all these pressures anymore. You'd be like, I'm going to Barbados. I'm going to go to an orgy. I'm going to fucking, I don't know, I'm going to climb a mountain. I'm going to I don't know what. It's a great question to ask. What would you do if you had a year to live? If you can really put yourself there. But you don't have to wait. Like some guy said to me in an interview, he goes, most people don't start to live until they're on their deathbed. And you see these people who have got cancer or stuff, they say to you, don't wait. Do what you want to do. None of it matters. Just do what makes you happy. Connect with the people you love. Just don't wait. This ends. We're all in this fantasy that we're immortal because we're so terrified of death. We just have blocked it out. We never think about it. So we all think we're immortal, that we have time. Because the biggest problem we have is that we think we have time.
Mm.
But we don't. This ends. Look at me. I'm 52. How did this fucking happen? I don't feel like 52, but I've got like 30 more summers if I'm lucky. 30 more summers. How many of you got 50 more summers?
I'm 40, but thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've got 40 more summers, 10 of which you'll be being pushed around in a chair. So let's not wait till we're ill or till someone dies to realize we all actually have a hall pass. Do what the fuck you like. No one is watching. No one gives a shit. No one at the end is going to give you a scorecard. They're all looking at their phone. They're all self-obsessed with their own likes and their own, Tinder and swiping and, they don't give a fuck what you do. No one's watching. So like I'm giving you now, and all the listeners, have a hall pass. You do what you like. No one cares. No one's, and anyone that does judge you for doing what makes you feel joyful, they're not your people. Mm. And your voice in your head of your dad or your mum, they didn't know so much. They weren't actually right about very much. Look at their parents, how they grew up. So yeah, have a hall pass on me.
Thank you. And then there's this part like, with this age of productivity, like working and making stuff and keeping
glorification of busy.
Yeah, it's all right. Totally identifying with that part as well.
Look at everyone who's made lots of money. Do they look happy? They're some of the most unhappy people in the world because they've got to that place and they're still there with all their shit. But now they've got nowhere to go. So it's a real panic, paradise syndrome. Mm. Elton John, the stadium of people shouting your name. You still come back to the dressing room by yourself and go, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like everyone, society and life has shown us that these values of if I can just get successful and rich, then I'll feel good. But we look at all the people that have done that and they don't, but we just ignore that fact again and again and again.
What about, you mentioned, do the stuff that you love. The first thing that came to my mind is working on the podcast, the content, polishing it, the channel, the podcast project, sorry. Mm-hmm. And that's what triggered me, or the association about this workaholism. Like, this is what I love, but it's also like I get sucked in, and then
getting sucked in is lovely.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
In a stressful way.
Ever.
You found your flow.
Yeah.
You found your flow. It's great.
So it's just this judgment. Oh, you're working all the time, and maybe that's just bullshit. It's okay to get sucked in and just do it. Just go with it. And
yeah. That's just, go with it. Exactly. Go with it. You're a passenger. There'll be other times where you suddenly don't feel like it. And you think, what? I just want to be in nature for a bit. I'm going to the mountains. I just need a month of nature and lovemaking. No, turning the phone off, and that's what you do for that flow. There's no always the same rhythm. Permission.
Can I end up, because I want to be thoughtful about your time. I read you're working about a new movie. Working on a new movie, or was it kind of it's a bush at the moment?
Are you talking about Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it just took a little lift recently. You have to wait. You have to make yourself available, because I don't want to do another movie with lots of faces talking. The thing about men and women is, it's boring now. So I'm trying to find a new way to make it interesting, But yeah, since the Embodiment Conference, which was fantastic, I don't know if you saw anything.
Yeah.
I met some really cool people. One of them is Ilan Stefani, who wrote this wonderful book about being a prostitute and everything she learned about love. It's a fascinating book.
Wow.
And a couple of other people I've been talking to, Ruby May, who runs Know Your Flow, old friend of mine. We teach a workshop together called Bitches and Bastards. Some of the conversations now seem to be giving some little buds on the bush, which look a bit more interesting than just a straight documentary. So yeah, it's just a movie to heal the male and female wound on the planet. There's so much potential between us, but we're so fucked up with all the brutality and violence and control trips and manipulations and battling between the battle of the sexes, I don't think we've really stepped forward very much in that area. It's behind all the other consciousness. So I want to make some work which really accelerates the potential of us going, hey, you, me, let's fucking heal this shit and step into our potential, our juicy potential together. Imagine what we can do if we're on each other's side. So I want to create a project, a film, a movement which makes that potential accelerated. And yeah.
Sounds really, really interesting. I can't wait for the project to blossom and grow.
Thank you. I'm being patient.
Is there something you would like to add or say to my listeners that you feel you would want to add?
There's one practice that I would recommend if people are thinking, yes, it's all very good, but how do you do it? Like something, I'm all about being practical, sort of the masculine side of like, do this, just the sort of lovely conversation part. So we have I'm inventing my ancient Taoist lineage, my own ancient Chinese practices. And one of them is, I call the secret of the 8 bowls. I invented it because I become so codependent in relationship that I go crazy. Like if I'm with a girlfriend, suddenly almost everything else in life stops, or everything in life becomes less important than the relationship. And if we're getting on well and life is good and the relationship is good, life is good. But if the relationship is going through problems and then life is bad. Like it was far too much of a influence on my life. But this practice works for everything, not just that. So it's called the secret of the 8 bowls of fulfillment. You decide what activities or things in your life make you go to sleep with a smile on your face. Like your podcast is one of them at the moment. You feel passionately about that.
Yeah.
Mine are present, beautiful time with my kids, not on screens. Do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so that's one of mine. Another one is my love of books and music and literature. And movies. That could be 3 bowls really, but we'll just make it one. But when I've seen a great movie or read a great few chapters of a book or listened to some music, I feel good. Like that's fulfilling. 3, my spiritual practice, which is really not a practice, but it's just living the kinds of things we've been talking, noticing my bullshit, noticing the angels laughing at me laughing at them. Someone once asked me, Jamie, how do you pray? And I said, usually my prayers are things like, that's not fucking funny, okay? There is a relationship. So that kind of journey.
That's really healthy, by the way.
Now, often it's like, you're not going to get it.
I see what you're doing there. Yeah.
Kind of punk me. But that relationship of humor and games, that's a bowl. The other one is being creatively productive. When I've written a blog or I've made a movie or I feel good, smiling face. That's 4. Another one is being helpful to people, like taking you through this little thing today. That might help your life a little bit. I don't know when we'll meet again. I may never meet you again, but I know that maybe your life is one atom closer to your joy and permission than it was before we met. So that feels good for me, being helpful to people. Another one is looking after my body and my house, which is kind of the same. Like taking a slow shower, slowing down everything, brushing the teeth slower. Some people jump in and out the shower. They're like, in, out, dry, off I go. It's very unconscious. Actually, to do it half speed, it's a great practice to, for 1 week, do all your washing in your body half speed. Moisturize with the oil or the cream slowly. Like this arm is a beautiful arm. Do it with slowness and consciousness. Also cleaning my house, hanging the laundry. That makes me happy. So that's another one. Spending time alone and in nature. This is not a bowl that I give enough to, but I know that when I do it, I feel happy and fulfilled. So that's 7. I always forget the 8th one, and it will come to me later. It's always telling. It's always very telling, the one I always forget. I don't know what one it is. But yeah, those...
you call it the 8 ball of self.
So they're bowls. They're bowls that feed me.
Bowls. Okay, yeah.
So if I have a picture of the 8 bowls with the labels on, and I look at them in the morning and go, have I neglected any? Are they how? And if I keep them all fairly full, then the other problems of life or the loneliness or the negativity, they can't get me so much. I live a happier life, and I am more full myself. My loving awareness is stronger, and therefore I can be of more service, because we can only give from a full cup.
Yeah.
Like some beautiful, she said, we give from the saucer. The saucer? You know that word? The saucer is the little dish that the cup.
Okay. I was just thinking like, oh no, I'm missing something. Yeah, that holds the teacup.
Yeah, so we give from the saucer, which means that there's so much in the cup it has spilled over the side. And there's enough now to give from the saucer when your cup is full.
Yeah, so you're giving what flows over.
Yeah, what you have extra. You don't give from half empty.
That's a really nice exercise also for people listening. Like if you put out your earphones, just sit down and write.
What are your 8 bowls?
What are your 8 bowls?
And make sure they're full as much as you can. Oh, friendship. This was the one I forgot the other day as well. The second time I forgot that in a week. I obviously need to call some people. Yeah, the other one is friends. Yeah. Non-sexual friendship. Platonic, like eros is fine, but like not, like non-sexual friendships. Really cultivate those, even if it's on a screen. Who are the 5 people that you care about, that you haven't spoken to for ages? Send them a little message. Just say, hey, I just wanted to say, I've been thinking of you.
Yep.
I don't want to lose contact with you.
Oh, that's a big one for me. I also keep forgetting, because when you're sucked in and you're, especially now, like we're all in this semi-lockdown weird situation, it's very easy to get lost in your own bubble. And for me, it's fine.
Totally. I received this message today. Due to increasing COVID-19 cases, Oxford residents will be moved into Higher 2 alert from tomorrow. This means you will not be permitted to socialize with anybody outside your household or support bubble in any indoor setting, whether at home or in a public place. Fuck you. I mean, I am observing, but don't tell me that I'm not permitted. I mean, I am observing.
That's what has been sent to you today. So you're not permitted to socialize or go.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
It's the word. It's the word permitted that bothers me.
Yeah. It's the opposite of freedom. I don't need your permission or approval or judgment.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Well, thank you for taking time and hanging out with me. I really hope once the travel restrictions are lifted, because I know Ulrike, and actually she was the one that introduced us. So
she was who I wrote to today to say, let's not lose contact.
Oh, well, here you go.
Are you in Holland?
Yes, I'm in Holland.
I'm planning to come there in a few weeks.
Yeah, that was my question. So if it is lifted, it would be nice if the restrictions are here anymore.
We can have a cheeky cappuccino.
Yeah, good.
Are you in Amsterdam or in Utrecht?
No, I'm in the east of the Netherlands. There's no really big cities here in the neighborhood. I live in the forest, basically. Yeah. Okay,
well, I would love to. When I'm coming, I'll let you know.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks again, and have a great day. And see you in the Netherlands.
See you soon. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.